Well, welcome back, everyone. Got a quick little episode for you. And don't worry, we see that Hippix found some special insurance, but don't worry, we're already on top of it. Like I said, Mr. Andre, there will be no escape for you. Now let's get to the next subject here. As I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this R&R Express and the related companies, you know, 65 million they went in the hole. It's interesting. And then the owner tries to hide a $10.4 million property by shifting into his name. You know, we got all this vetting going on, but I don't see that the carriers need to be vetted like the brokers need to be vetted. $65 million is no chump change. But yet there's so many of these brokerages that are doing this and going out of business because they're not paying when they're supposed to be paying. Now, we all know as carriers, when you use factoring and you turn it in, you get all your money the next day. So why is it that a brokerage can go $65 million into a hole? And who's the lenders? Now the lenders, you know, they're left out to dry. Who's going to pay for this madness? And then this guy, you're going to tell me that he's not a criminal? You literally know what you did and how you scammed all these carriers. 65 million. Now, I just seen a guy, I like to reference names from time to time. Some of you may know he's another brokerage. He's over on TikTok. Steve Vest. He put out a very interesting piece. I believe it was today, not too long ago, about AGX going under. Oh boy, I can remember these guys because I remember when they always posted on Selectus. Cheap dogs. They love to use the cheap carriers. I believe it was a bunch of foreigners or foreign dispatchers operating over there because that's what it seemed like a lot of times when you called. Folks, we are in a very special time here. A very special time. Sometimes I get excited, you know. And when I see these crooks that have been around in the past, I'm going to say really the ones that really, you know, popped like a balloon, they came within the past 4 to 5 years now. It used to be 2 to 3, but as we moved along, now it's 4 to 5. And when I see these crooks going under, boy, do I get excited. Because there's more and more people reporting what's going on. They're exposing a lot of this nonsense. And all we really need is the carriers and these owner-operators be educated by people that know what's going on, and for the good people in this industry to unite, to wipe out these criminals, these frauds, these scammers. Because in this industry, nationwide, with all this money that's involved, it needs to come to an end. As you can see here in the United States, we have a big problem with fraud. You know, you've all heard about the Somali stuff. I don't know how many states now, between the EBT fraud, the medical company fraud, and all the other stuff they're doing, money laundering as far as I'm concerned. And then even today I saw another video about Russian-Armenian mafia involved in hospice care fraud. This country is bleeding, literally bleeding from all this fraud. And I hope the FBI and Homeland Security and all these guys, you know, under Kash Patel, hopefully, you know, you never know with half these people. I really hope they start to crack down and wipe all this fraud out as much as possible. And then we can get back to this beautiful United States. Because for these people, whether they're here in this country or they're overseas committing this fraud, it's no benefit to us. They're enriching their countries, enriching their pockets. You know, as a lot of you may or may not know also, now TikTok is American owned. And I guess TikTok is kind of separating itself. So it's going to be like an American TikTok here in the United States. And I heard some other content creators on TikTok saying how they'll be separate for like the foreigners and for Canada and stuff. And it's kind of going to like separate, which I think is a good thing because I see it a lot on Facebook where a lot of these frauds and scammers prey on people, and they do it as well on TikTok, some on YouTube. YouTube's pretty good about cracking down on these bots and stuff. And I think this, with today's modern technology and AI and what's going on, they have to focus on this. They have to knock this fraud out. Now we're going to experience some new things in the freight and logistics industry as far as AI and all this stuff. You're calling on loads and AI is answering. The other day someone showed a video where they were calling for a load and it doesn't even start off with what's your MC or DOT number. So that's already a flaw right there. Right away, it ended up saying they weren't able to give them a load because they didn't even have 6 months authority. But people are literally building these platforms with no clue. It's people that haven't been in industry, probably haven't been carriers or brokers. In my personal opinion, a carrier is the beginning. A carrier is operating equipment. A carrier is going all over the United States. Just like when I say you have a dispatcher, and the dispatcher's never been on the road, doesn't even know their geography of this country. They may not be over here. Even the Americans that want to play dispatcher, this younger generation, they don't even know the geography of this country, let alone the lanes and the routes and all this other stuff and the types of equipment. And then you got the brokerages. And the brokerages, because a lot of people are phasing out in this industry due to old age, and people do not teach the trade, the craft. And this is a problem in any type of industry. If people that are older and have a skill or an experience, they should at least attempt or have been hopefully passing it down to the younger generation, then there'll be no help for this country. If you do not pass on the knowledge and the information that you've maybe gained over the years, and I'm not saying take out all the hours in the day, week, month, year, whatever, because a lot of these people aren't teachable because their education sucks. Your parents maybe didn't emphasize that they needed schooling, and a lot of them can't read, write, or understand English. They definitely can't compose a sentence or a paragraph or write an email. So this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a change in the United States, an exposure of stuff, what's going on. But I believe in the logistics industry, it's going to get a lot worse. And you're going to see a lot more of these brokerages and these carrier authorities, many who've been around for years, they're getting demolished. A lot of them wanted to play with the money. If you're a brokerage and the money is coming in, you pay the carriers and your bills before you pay yourself. You don't screw the whole industry out of $65 million and then try to hide a $10.4 million property. And then if I'm not mistaken, I believe this R&R then tried to put another mortgage on it or something from another bank or lender, but I think they're squashing that. These people have become literal criminals in this industry. And a lot of you brokerages, you know what's going on. Many of you have been around for years, but you don't speak up. A lot of you go to dinner engagements with them. You'll go to maybe the Freight Waves meeting. You'll go to the Broker Carrier Summit meeting. And you just think everything is hunky-dory and nothing's going to get exposed and nothing's going to be said. It all comes to light eventually. When you're doing these criminal acts and committing fraud, eventually it's going to come to light. And I don't feel sorry for any of yous that get destroyed when it comes out. Because what you do to people and try to hurt people that are actually probably good. I've seen people come into this industry on the carrier side that actually, they had some brains, they put money in, and they tried to do the right thing. And I've said it before to a lot of you brokerages, you need to rethink or revamp your systems, because that old way of not giving good carriers or new people coming in the industry, you make them wait 6 months to a year. All you've done is left them the only opportunity is go to frauds and criminals, use these apps that are double brokering loads. This is what's gone on. And by doing this, you've hurt yourselves. You don't see it. Maybe some of you do, but trust me, you're hurting yourselves. So I think, my opinion, I think a lot of you need to start having real discussions, real get-togethers, maybe not over steak and potatoes, maybe over a big bowl of spaghetti. You need to come back down to reality and run your operation legally, correctly, and by the laws of this country. Because if not, you're going to end up in the same situation. For $65 million, I mean, this is crazy. 65 million. They're not the only ones. We know they're not the only ones. But I see a lot of the American brokerages and carriers, they're getting demolished and they're closing down. You guys don't understand that there's been a war in the background. It continues and there's more stuff coming. And you all think you can just play with this money and rotate it around. You're going to get bit by that dog. That dog is vicious. I'm Axel. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Like, share, and subscribe. And like I said, don't worry. We're still on that Hippix case. We're going to get them again. Once you're on my list as a fraud, you stay on my list. I don't like frauds. I don't like what you do to people. I'm going to get you guys, all of you, one by one. But yeah, that's the latest as I heard of today's AGX freight. Adios, AGX, you cheap dogs. You deserve it as well as R&R. I'm Axel. Catch you guys in the next one.